Thank you, Leslie. Board, that puts us at the consent agenda.
Does anybody have clarifications? I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
So Mike has approved and Jonathan has seconded. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda?
No.
All right, so then I'm going to do a roll call vote because because Jonathan is on Zoom. So Jonathan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Madeline?
Aye.
I also vote aye, so the consent agenda has passed. That leads us to the superintendent's update.
Well, it's great to be back after a few weeks off, and just want to let you know a few things that I have been working on. I've been a part of the City of Ellensburg Arts, the Fine Arts Committee, and had a chance to reconnect and join the community choir, which was really fun. Did a little concert in Rotary Park, and it's been a great way, I think, for me to be able to connect with people and have some fun. I have an average voice, but it's fun to feel like I'm connected to a bigger group. So Leslie, if you want to go through those two slides, that was the Community Connect group. And you can go on to the next slide. So I invited Tiffany Price. We've heard from her before. She's amazing. She's been doing a coding camp and has some great celebrations to share with us regarding the team that went out to Texas. So Tiffany.
Thank you. Oh, melts my heart to see these kiddos. Okay.
Is your, I don't think your mic's on.
Yes.
And your mic needs to be turned on. I don't think, is it on? I don't think it is. Yeah. Because then I won't be able to hear it soon.
Okay, thank you. It is such an absolute thrill to be here. I stand before you, a computer science teacher, an advisor for the Technology Student Association Leadership. It is a nationally recognized leadership student association recognized across the country and as well as across our country, and also a very exhausted coding camp director. So we're midstream in a coding camp right now, and I can't tell you how amazing it is to be able to share with you right now while I'm immersed in that mixture of emotion of just joy, exhaustion, but joy, because watching these young students, so when you just showed me their faces, my little heart melted again. They are absolute precious. But here's what they look like when they get to high school. When I was here last, I shared with you that our Technology Student Association, which is, we just refer to it as TSA, it's that national leadership organization that our high school is now a chapter of. This has been our first official year of being involved completely as a TSA chapter here in Ellensburg High School. We placed at state, we had 16 students go to state. As a result, we had 2 teams actually qualified to make it to nationals. So we went to nationals, and what you see up on the screen, we have on the left side, we have our Team Vera. These young women they competed in the software development event, and they placed 10th overall in the nation, which is it's such an exceptional thing to be able to do, because this is the first time these young women actually went to state, and then to go on to nationals to win in their first year is pretty outstanding. And I'm really proud of them. They developed quite a really what I feel is an environmentally aware app that helps you plant your garden with in mind our native species. So we are tempted to go and plant those plants that look nice, but sometimes those are invasive, right? So what they're trying to do is help raise awareness to be able to be conscious about what we're planting and help plant those plants that are more natural to our environment here. And so it's really exciting to see what they did, because they not only created an app that will help you identify what you should be planting in your garden, but they're also working on an artificial intelligence component with a camera to be able to see, to be able to detect if you're about to plant something native to our environment or not. So another way to help guide us to be environmentally conscious. On the right is our Josephine Shoda and Andrew Stinson. They placed first overall in the nation in video game design. And we know how much high schoolers love video games. This is probably one of the most competitive events across the entire conference. And to place state was quite an achievement for them. Again, this is our first time as a TSA chapter to go to nationals in our first year and then to place state. So everybody, so just so you know, Ellensburg High School is on the map. I'm already getting Instagram inquiries like, oh, yeah. So I couldn't be more proud. So Andrew Stinson, so I asked the students if they would like to say something to the board. Andrew responded, and I believe his sentiments express what all of our members feel about this entire experience. So this comes from Andrew. I was fortunate to be able to go to TSA Nationals in Texas, where we learned about the organization and computer science. Though I still haven't gotten over the shock, Joey and I went on to win the video game design competition. Word of our award has quickly spread throughout the community. And what he means by that is he was at his house and his neighbor had friends over, and they called over and they said, Andrew, how can I be a better coder? And he said, wow. I didn't even know them. So they're now recognized in our community, which is wonderful. What a great mentor and role model. He continues on, I've loved seeing younger kids find interest in the topic of computer science and members of our TSA club eager to make a run at nationals next year. So that's wonderful. He continues to say, to help fund our TSA chapter, we've held coding camps for kids. It's here I see firsthand how big and how powerful coding is to children. These kids show excitement and interest to learn. I feel that they will be the next generation of talented programmers to come through our community. I am extremely thankful to be able to help foster this growth and interest and help grow such a vital skill in our schools and children. So I can tell you that they all feel that way. It has been one of those amazing relationships to see between these students work with the younger children, and just to see that the inspiration that the students are bringing to these, but also that these are bringing to our students. So it's going full circle. We have offered 2 coding camps this year. First coding camp was coding mobile apps. So if everybody who has a phone here, no, it's a joke. We all have phones, right? And that's literally how we are communicating, where all of our apps come through. And so it's really important that our students know how to create those. So in this camp, they learn how to create mobile apps, and they actually were able to code them and then copy them to their phones, and then their parents could have these. They were adorable. We had 12 students at that camp, and from the mobile app camp, we followed that on with the coding video games camp, which is currently in session. We have 27 students in that camp, and what I loved was 10 students from the coding mobile apps camp continued on, and they signed up for the coding video games. And there was a couple students who, once they got into camp, said, can we please take that video game camp, because they have really enjoyed the camp experience. All of the proceeds that we raise, 100% of those proceeds go to fund our TSA chapter, meaning we are all volunteers, every single one of us there. And we are there so that we can continue to help bring awareness of the importance of computer science to our students and our community. Every week, these last 2 weeks, about the third day into camp, I like to give a little quick questionnaire to parents about what their student is enjoying about camp. So I thought I would share some of that with you. So from the parents, and these comments I think represent almost every single one of the surveys that I got. So from a parent, the social aspect along with learning more about computers. Another parent says the other kids, so their student enjoys the other kids, the high schoolers, and the activities they play. Another parent says their student likes interacting with other students and learning about apps. So I think what I discovered was it wasn't just learning coding that was important, but it was also that interactive, being able to just go out and play with other students that have a common interest with you. So that has been wonderful. Quotes from the students. So every day before they leave camp, they get a little survey to ask them, what are your goals for tomorrow? And literally, these always seems to be the goals for the next day. So I thought I'd share with them. Okay, so code, make even more friends, getting better at coding, learn, code better, make a game, have fun, more code, finish code, and make someone smile. So those are our goals.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So I basically have to bribe them now to go outside because they don't want to go outside. They want to stay and they want to code. And this literally captures what this camp looks like. This eagerness, the happiness, our camp helpers right there helping. Oh my goodness. It is just, I wish I could share with you the, what it sounds like, what that sounds like, because oftentimes we think a good classroom is a quiet classroom where students are busy working. But in this project-based learning model, what you have is a loud classroom where students are doing and learning their activities and becoming invested in what they're creating. And it's very loud. So, and I love it. I love it. It just does my heart so well, so good. And okay, so moving on, what's next? Wow. So this has been an incredibly successful camp in the sense that my goal was primarily to continue to raise awareness for the importance of computer science, both in our students and in our community. And I would say that we're making some inroads in that direction, and that's very exciting to me. So I can't stop. So what I'm doing now is, as I look inside in my classes, I see that my classes are typically 75% boys and only 25% girls. And that being a woman in tech, this doesn't seem proportionate, I think, I feel like we need to continue to help support our girls and help them see that this is a career that potentially they can also be a part of, but if not, at least gain those skills to help them be competitive along with their male counterparts in our in our society and in the job market. So as a result of that, the other statistic that I find startling, but I have experienced it, is that 24% of computing jobs are held by women, which means the others, well, I mean, rounded up to 25%. So 75% of our technology positions are held by men, which is great. However, we should help even that out and give women the same access and support to get to those fields because they pay very well. And young girls, women are equally capable of holding those positions, and I speak firsthand to that. So I would like to explore starting a Girls Who Code chapter in Ellensburg, and I want to help bring these young girls who are in our camp and see if we can help keep this camp going for them and see where that leads us. So that's very exciting. I'm also considering a winter coding camp to help keep coding and keep hoping word of mouth gets more into our community, because we have a very small, but it's a very supportive community, and hopefully word of mouth and bring more students in for a winter coding camp, which I think would be a blast. And so those are kind of next steps for this. And just a FYI, as far as the computer science at the high school goes, I'm very happy and kind of overwhelmed with a lot of gratitude. In June, we applied for and received an advanced placement computer science initiative grant, and we were awarded $10,000. So I can't, yeah. And the whole purpose of that grant is to help increase opportunities for our students. And as a result, I have found probably a pretty phenomenal, if not the best, drone program out there. And what it does is it allows us to continue learning our programming languages that we're learning in our AP classes, our AP computer science classes, and help actually code the drones using those languages so that they can actually apply and see real world examples and applications of what they do. It actually can actually drive a drone, but we learn about all of the things that go along with a drone. And then we learn how coding can be applied into potential jobs. And this being an agricultural community, I'm hoping that students who may not otherwise consider computer science start to see those aspects, that this could be something that they could learn, a skill they could learn that would help them in any kind of opportunities that might present themselves here locally. So that is what we'll be doing next year. So, you know, watch out, look up. No, I'm joking. No, they'll be in my classroom. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you all so much. This is just, I can't tell you how full my heart is with gratitude for your support and to allow this opportunity of computer science in our community and in our schools. It is truly changing lives and truly equipping our students for their future, right? Not our future, but for theirs, because they are coming into a job market that's dramatically different than any one of us could ever imagine having to go to. And the skills that they are required to know just at an entry-level job is so different than the entry-level jobs that I was applying for as a job. So I thank you for all that you're doing and for your support. So thank you.
Board, do you have any questions for Tiffany?
Yes, I did. My daughter's in your camp this week, and this is like the thing she's been so excited about. She was really nervous, but now that she's in it, she loves it. And so we kind of want to make sure that there's, and I'm glad you spoke to it, about things that are opportunities for kids that are in elementary, just to keep that excitement going until middle school and high school.
Yes. Yeah, so we do have, what's really exciting to me is that we do have opportunities happening at the elementary schools. We have robotics, and I know Valley View has kind of a STEM coding there. So there's these programs happening, and I also know that more and more every year, teachers are incorporating coding into their classroom as an opportunity for them. So that, along with, I hope, just getting that Girls Who Code chapter going for us, I'm really hoping that we can keep this momentum. But I love that. And that is truly why I feel like we need computer science K through 12, right? The earlier we get our students that they can see that they can code, you know, it's not going to be a thing like, oh, I'm not good at computers. Okay. If you ever hear that, all you have to ask them is, do you know how to use, you know, your mom or dad's phone, or do you know how to use your phone? And they're going to say, yes. Okay. That's a computer. So guess what? You are good at computers.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. And if you have any ideas, please let me know. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. You're amazing. We really appreciate you.
I just quickly want to jump in and say, Ms. Price, I appreciate every time you come and share what you're doing with the board. And I always appreciate how you connect it to opportunities after school for potential careers. But then also, I'm always mindful, or want to bring up that this is not even just a career issue. This is a basic literacy skill of the world we live in. We daily interact with our phones and our computers, and for our kids to understand the coding that's behind it so that they will not be manipulated, but be knowledgeable about it is vital. And so thank you for doing that. And thank you for the advocacy for K-12, because most of our other counterparts in the world, they already require it in a systematic way from K-12. So just to keep up with the world's education, I agree with you. This is important. So thank you.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for the superintendent's report. Board, we are at 4A, business and updated procedures for special education.
So every time that our policies change, we look at our procedures and we see how we need to work on procedures to align with the policy. And Patty Kimmel, our director of special education, just recently looked again at our policies and just did some changes in the procedures. So there's really nothing that you'll need to approve, but we just thought that this would be a good opportunity to share with you the way we go in to help change up different procedures so they better align. And Kelly was just going to give you an overview of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to add too, and I wanted to share this, that apparently last year, the Washington Administrative Code had been changed around special education and a lot of the specific rules around that. And so the special ed directors last year worked hard on supporting the WAC changes, and then they've all been working to look at board policy to make sure that it's appropriate with the WACs, which WASDA has done. So our board policy is fine, but it's the procedures that really needed to be updated. And procedures are approved by district administration. So Patty has gone through, she's reviewed it. I'll just give you a few of the things that were changed. So there's a lot of very specific rules in the Washington Administrative Code around discipline and making sure that we're not overly disciplining students with disabilities. So that's some pieces that we've changed, as well as how we communicate referral processes with parents for special education. MTSS stands for multiple tiers of student success, and we do a lot of that with our win time, particularly at the elementary schools. We're doing more MTSS, and we're moving up the ladder with middle. We used to just qualify kids on tests alone. We no longer do that. We are now, the law is really moving and changing in Washington state so that we can qualify a student for special education services on MTSS services, not just on a one and done test. So a lot of the procedures around how we use our school psychologists to evaluate students using MTSS has been altered in this. We have restraint and isolation rules. So we know that kids with disabilities oftentimes might involve a restraint or isolation if it's an unsafe environment. And we have very specific rules on how we address that and how we record it and how we document it and communicate it with families. So we've updated that. How we communicate with our private schools. So as a special education provider, the public schools are required to reach out to our private schools once a year for a consultation. And we do provide special education services either pulled into the school district or pushed into the private school. And so we've updated some of that language. We updated a little bit of transfer of rights. So as a student ages out and becomes an adult, so a student with, this is typically more related to kids with significant disabilities that might need more of a lifetime guardianship. How do we transition the parent driving the IEP to the student who's 18 driving that IEP? So we have some updates there. And then how do we, what is the due process hearing? There's some laws that have changed around due processes when we have legal action, and then also professional development and just adding some narratives in there specifically around the WACs. Those are the main areas that we addressed in this. There's, as Ginger said, there's nothing to approve, just for you to know that we have updated them and made sure that they're aligned with the WACs and policy. Any questions?
Was there anything that was really far off from what we had originally? Or, I mean, as far as the updates go, was it more language based than?
Yeah, no, yeah. And a lot of it became very specific to Ellensburg and our process. So oftentimes, you know, they maybe were alluding to positions that no longer existed anymore, you know, things like that. Or there were some pieces that were somewhat off, and we'd have to dig through it. It's in red and you could see the cross outs. But no, I mean, we were close, as close as everybody else was. These are fairly recent changes that have just happened. So yeah, we're good to go now. It's a very long document if you didn't notice, and it's pretty riveting. I know that you were very interested in it. It's tough reading because it's very technical. So, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you for that report. At 4B, the July finance report.
Okay, well, tonight I'm going to go over the financial status of the district as of June 2022. Again, you should have a packet in front of you or on your computer that has a summary report, financial update spreadsheet, fund balance chart, a budget status report, a trial balance report, and Kittitas County Treasurer's report for all funds. You will see the general fund budget is on track. As of June 30th, the revenue came in at 77.6% of the budget, and expenditures came in at 75.61%, without taking in consideration encumbrances. These percentages are below the expected budget amount of 83%, which relates to 10 months of expenditures out of the total 12 months for the year. The unassigned fund balance equates to approximately 9.25% after considering fund balance restrictions and assignments, which is the primary indicator of the district's financial status. As I analyze the financial information for June, you will see the expenditures outpace the revenues by 1.8 million in June and about 1.9 million for the year. This is an increase from last month, and part of the reason for that is due to cash outs of vacation days for administrators, supplemental contracts for teachers and ESAs. Some employees like to hold on to their extra days and their extra time until the end of the school year, and then they put it all in at once to get a lump sum. So you'll always, in June, you will see that big jump in pay. We also paid retro pay to PSC for the new negotiated contract. We still have 2 months of expenditures for the 21-22 school year, which will include summer maintenance projects, remaining salaries and benefits, additional professional services and supplies, curriculum and CTE supplies, and equipment for 22-23 just to get the school year started. I have added those additional spreadsheets like I had added last month that shows more detailed information for the general fund around revenues, expenditures, and fund balance. This spreadsheet also shows the reconciliation between the district trial balance and Kittitas County Treasurer. You have a copy of the district trial balance report and the Kittitas County Treasurer report in your packet. You will see there was a discrepancy this month between the district trial balance and the Kittitas County Treasurer, and that is due to a timing of a posting of a payroll transaction that was posted back in our system as of 6:30, but wasn't reported, or it was done at the beginning of July, but he posted it back to 6:30, but then Kittitas County Treasurer got it in July. So there's just a timing difference of those posting dates, and that'll just be washed out after in July. We won't have to do anything further with that. Each month, the two reports are reconciled, and if there are any discrepancies, they are researched and fixed during a reconciliation process, if possible, and before the monthly financial update to the board. Sometimes this is not possible due to the complexity of the discrepancies or the timing of the reconciliation, like I just explained, and will need to be fixed after the board report. Some examples of discrepancies are voided checks reported to Kittitas County, but not fixed in the district system yet. Keying errors on both parts, both sides. Revenue reported with Kittitas County, but not reported in the district system yet. Sometimes they are receiving funds, and then we have to put it in our system. So, and it could go the other way too. Not every month has discrepancies, and if there are, they're usually pretty minor. So that's the general fund. Capital project fund is below the expected 83% budgeted revenue expenditures as of June 30th. Revenue came in at 51.78%, and expenditures came in around 62.57%. The fund balance is at $1.8 million that consists of state match, tech levy, and assigned funds to support other capital projects. We don't have a lot of other capital projects in the capital project fund right now, so there's very little in there for that. It's mostly, as you know, concentrated on our buildings of our new school and the remodel of Lincoln. Mount Stewart and Ida Nason Aronica is in the closing out process, and Lincoln's remodel is on time and budget. We have met our state match threshold, which means that we will now receive the max amount of state funding each month based on expenses paid out from the previous month for the remodel of Lincoln Elementary. The reconciliation between the district trial balance and Kittitas County Treasury report found no discrepancies. The debt service fund, the debt service fund revenues are above the expected 83% budgeted revenue, coming in at actually 101%, if you can do that, with the expenditures being above the expected 83% at 99.07. The majority of our expenditures were in December 2021 to pay both the principal and interest on our outstanding debt, and in June for our second payment of interest. The reconciliation between the district trial balance and the Kittitas County Treasury report found no discrepancies. The ASB fund is below the expected 83% budgeted revenue and expenditures as of June 2022. Revenue came in at 40.02% and expenditures came in around 29.79%. And just another reminder that ASB board has made the decision to budget for capacity, so they budget quite high. The reconciliation between the district trial balance and Kittitas County Treasury report found no discrepancies. Since the private purpose trust fund is a fiduciary fund, it is not a budgeted fund. Therefore, there is not a budget status report. You'll see that the fund balance is at approximately $52,000 at the end of June to fund private purposes, specifically to support scholarships. The reconciliation between the district trial balance and Kittitas County Treasury found no discrepancies. The transportation vehicle fund is also below the expected 83% budgeted revenue expenditures as of June 2022. Revenue came in at 2.94% and expenditures came in at 0 once again. The district has decided not to purchase or surplus any buses this year, and that 2.94% revenue is just basically interest. We are planning at this time to purchase buses next year in surplus, but we won't receive those buses until probably March of 23. And again, the reconciliation between the district trial balance and Kittitas County Treasury report found no discrepancies. I would like to remind everyone that this report is presented with the information I have currently and is subject to change as we continue through the year. I would also like to remind everyone that revenue sources are used in the current funds for authorized expenditures and can't usually be transferred to be used in different funds unless authorized within the adopted budget and within the accounting laws. Are there any questions?
Kim, I would just like to thank you for that report. And I would also like to add thank you to the whole team that's been working on the bond of building 2 schools and remodeling that 3rd elementary. During COVID, sorry. Oh, it might be getting feedback, not sure. Globally, we've had supply chain issues and labor issues, but those coming on time and on budget is extraordinary. Thank you. Board, I don't see any other questions. Dr. Jonathan, I'm looking at you for a hand raise. I don't see anything. So
I'm okay.
Okay. So that takes us to 4C, proposed calendar for 22-23 board meetings.
Yes, so this item, we are going to ask you for adoption. We looked at the board calendar for next year, and Leslie did a nice job kind of combing through that and putting together a proposed calendar for board meetings. And we just had one place where there was a back-to-back board meeting, but other than that, it was, so Leslie, do you want to just talk about that one piece or anything else you want to share around the calendar?
So our board meetings are on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. In November, we deviate for Thanksgiving. That meeting has been adjusted to, we actually have 5 Wednesdays in that month, so nobody has to be here the night before Thanksgiving. And then we only have one board meeting in December, and that will be on the 14th. And then in March, we have spring break. And so we're going out of that sequence of the second, fourth to the first and third so that we aren't here during spring break. And then we go back into our normal sequence in April. So I think that the February 22nd and March 1st meetings are kind of close together. They might be 2 weeks in a row, but otherwise we shouldn't have anything like we did this year with the spring break.
So we would recommend adoption of the board calendar.
So board, the chair is open for a motion.
I move that we adopt the board calendar as it is here.
I second.
Mike has motioned and Madeline has seconded. Is there any further discussion? Then, because we are sort of in a hybrid situation, I will do a roll call vote for this. Mike?
Aye.
Madeline?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
I also vote aye, so the new board calendar is adopted. Board, that takes us to board reports. Jason is not here tonight, so we do not have a board chair update. Leslie, that puts us at 7A for public comment. Do we have anyone in the room who would like to do public comment?
Tasha Leslie is going to get the list.
Thank you. For those of you on Zoom, there is a sign up link that you can click on in the chat. And once I get that information from Leslie, just in case you don't have to hear me read about the public comments, I might save you from that. If you are on Zoom, please feel free to sign up on that form or raise your hand in Zoom.
We have one person who signed up to make comment here.
Okay, well then as we get set up for that, and once again, if people on Zoom want to do it, I will go ahead and read an open public comment. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. In order to permit fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board will provide a period during the meeting for visitors to offer input to members of the board. At the discretion of the board president, additional community input may be called for during the business meeting as it may relate to a specific agenda topic. If possible, such presentation should be scheduled in advance. The board may also allow individuals to express an opinion prior to board action on agenda items that the board determines require or will benefit from public comment. Written and oral comment will be accepted by the board before the adoption or amendment of policies not expressly or by implication authorized by state or federal law, but which will promote the education of kindergarten through 12th grade students in public schools or will promote the effective, efficient, or safe management and operation of the district. Individuals wishing to be heard by the board will first be recognized by the chair president. Individuals, after identifying themselves, will proceed to make comments within the time limits established by the board. In this case, it is 3 minutes. Any representative of a firm eligible to bid on materials or services solicited by the board will also be entitled to express an opinion. The chair president may interrupt or terminate an individual statement when it is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. The board as a whole has the final decision in determining the appropriateness of such rulings. Leslie, go ahead and name the name of the first person, please.
Joy Lassard.
Joy Lassard, 815 East Fifth Avenue, Ellensburg. I have a suggestion, and I think it's directed toward Kim Snyder. If the board has a copy of the budget report in front of them as you're reading it to them, perhaps the same report could be put up on this screen, and those in attendance might be able to see it as well. It's an excellent way to demonstrate transparency, and we can follow along easily.
Leslie, is there anyone else in the room that would like to make a public comment?
There's no one else in the room.
Do we have anyone sign up on Zoom?
No.
So if you could you put 30 seconds up, please, in case people would like to join from Zoom? Just as a reminder, there is the sign up in the chat, or you can go ahead and raise your hand. And because I can't see the 30 seconds, if someone in the room could go ahead and tell me when that's up, that would be great. Leslie, are we at 30 seconds?
Yes.
Thank you. So I am closing public comment now, and we will move on to new business. Board, any proposed items for future consideration?
None at this time.
Thank you. That brings us to our meeting closing. Ginger, do we have an executive or closed session?
No, we do not.
And we are at 9B for board calendar. We have an August board retreat to set the date for.
Yes, and Leslie just sent out some new dates, and so we can take a look at those. If you want to give me feedback on that, it's that week of the 15th. I think it's like 16th, 17th, or 18th. So if you guys want to, if you have a, yeah, go ahead.
I heard from Jason today, and he's only available on the 19th, and Mike will be out of town the 19th through the 21st. So maybe we could look at the following week, or
Okay,
or
yeah, we'll
let me
keep
know.
working on that then.
Leslie and Ginger, thank you for sending out those emails. I think it's always easier to sort out board calendars that way. So thank you for that. As a board, we have to respond to those emails in order to get that work session set. 9C, clarification and next steps.
No, I do not have anything.
All right, then signing of official documents.
Yes.
Well, there's only 2 of you tonight in there, so the other 3 of us will have to stop by the office and get that taken care of in a timely manner.
Sounds good.
So board 9E, adjournment. We do need a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Mike has moved and Madeline has seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Over my 10 minutes, please.